So, folks, welcome to A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr. I'm here with Cesar R. Espino, my buddy. Hi, Cesar.
Hey, James, what's up, man?
Yes, 10,000 books. We have three. We have four books together, possibly a fifth. I started writing it actually, Cesar. I started
Oh, did you?
kind of.
Oh, okay.
I sat down. I wrote the first like two paragraphs. I'm thinking, what's all these books and everything and all this stuff. He has other books too. What's all that?
Yeah, we need
But,
to.
I started because I think we're in a new era, and we're going to talk about that today. Actually, you guys talked about this beforehand.
Yep.
Caesar's like me. Caesar does books. He does the audio dramas with me. He has real estate. What else? What else do you do? What do you do?
Books, real estate investing, business coaching and consulting, event planning, or a bunch of this different stuff, and music, and yeah, a little bit of everything, man.
Everything. And also you're an NPL coach. NP, was it? Did I say it right?
And NLP.
NLP is it?
Yeah, neuro linguistic programming.
Yes, I've met people who do, besides you who do that. So he does that too. So he's a smart guy. But it's all business. It's all business. And this show we talk about business. We talk about life and business. And the reason I was thinking about this next book, I'm thinking we should do is probably on this time period from the pandemic on. And I just wrote my first part is writing the day everything shut down. Because everybody remembers the day everything shut down.
Right.
And so I'm starting there. But this stuff we're going to talk about today a little bit, it's kind of like people ask me, like, Chase, how do you do it? How do you keep going? How do you do this? Now I'm teaching classes. You know, he's doing mentorship programs, and we're all doing this stuff. But I want to let you guys know it is hard for us too. Like I've always been real. We've always shared our stories, and we've always shared very, very transparent that we're real people who are doing this. Also, it's not easy. You can do it. You can overcome anything. But
yes.
You know, so he's like, yeah, right there. I'm right there. I'm in the corner. That handsome face is me. Not today, but we're behind. My eyes are hurting. Everything's hurting. But no, but it's. I would say for you, it's so weird because we're talking about social media aspect, which is a great thing to start off with. Social media, because social media is the free promotion marketing tools.
Right.
But it's the most labor intensive, isn't it? It's like you have to so you're saying you have problems just like even doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, so two things to that. And number one, like you said, like it's not easy for us to keep going, and there's times, as you know, that they're like really challenged. We're very challenged, and so the one thing I kind of go back to is like, you know, well, what was the reason you started doing this to begin with, right? And as you know, I've been asked to go back to work and do the 9 to 5, and I'm like, that's not something that I think I can do, you know, at least not yet. And so again, it's not easy because it can be very temptation. So anyways, that's one. The other thing too, you know, the social media, like, man, that's a full-time job, right? And obviously people that are doing it bigger, for sure, they have some sort of assistant or virtual assistant helping with that because it is a lot of work. You know, I'm trying to stay active and I'm still trying to figure these things out. Yet I'm trying to stay active, not only with TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, not Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp. I am trying to also stay very active there. So there's so many different platforms. And it's like, man, how do you keep up with doing that every day, right? And so obviously there's that the idea of doing it through a virtual assistant, someone helping you, which is great. Or there's also the idea of getting, which I'm looking into it, by the way, right now, in terms of getting some software to be able to help you distribute the same message differently, though, a little bit in every platform, right? Because it's a lot of work. For sure.
Well, okay, you brought two good things. Okay, first I'll bring up just really quickly the 9 to 5 thing. I went back, like you did too for a minute. A couple of years ago, I went back and had a regular retail job. I did it for 3 months and I had to run. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. It was hard because, first of all, I used to being the boss. I'm used to like making decisions where whether it's good or bad or whatever, it's still my decision and it's on me. To have to defer to someone else to like go to the bathroom or like, you know, go to lunch or whatever. That stuff it's really weird after you're in charge of yourself. It's like, I'll be like, I'm going to lunch right now. See you later. I mean, I just go. Where I'm about to go, I have to wait till somebody comes back. Like it was like I was opening the store. It was parts of it were fun, but parts of it I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to. I can do it. So those of you guys who do it, good for you. That's what you guys do. But some of us are entrepreneurs. And some of us just have to. I think you went back to work for a minute too, for a little bit, didn't you?
I did
Great.
last year for a couple of
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
I think maybe for 2 months.
I remember you weren't happy.
No, no, no. And so it wasn't any, again, the pay was really good for me.
Oh yeah,
I've
mine
always
was.
said, at least towards the end of my 9 to 5, I had jobs that were paying me really good. And this one was a really good paying job. Except, again, I realized that sometimes it's not so much about the money. In the contrary, where people believe that that's the case, I don't believe that. And so it wasn't good. What I always tell people, and as you know, oh yeah, we talked about, I also have a podcast show. So one of the things that I talk about my podcast when I speak to people, and we all agree on this, and I'm interviewing people that are, really doing it and making it big. And one of the things that we talked about is that if you're doing it for profits, you're doing it wrong. You got to be doing it for a purpose, and the profits will come, right? And so I see that, like when I was working, I was not doing it for purpose. I was doing it for profits because it was a good paying job. Again, though, I wasn't happy. And, less than 2 months, I was like out and about. Right. And as, you know, dumb as this may sound, yeah, we're challenged financially sometimes. Yet again, though, the purpose is there. And I know that the profits will come eventually somehow. And I know they are. You have to have that faith, that certainty.
You do, and it is uncertain. And there's some lean months. There's some months that happen that are lean, and there's some months that are very abundant. You're like, I'm doing
Right.
great. I have this money over. So, yeah, but I just want to mention that for you guys watching or listening, you have to go back to a 9 to 5 or back to a previous job. No shame in that. But I always say, still work on trying to be on your own if you can.
Right.
I try to get back out again. But if you also, that can be good motivation to not go back to a 9 to 5 job. You don't want to just keep, then do what you can, because that's the question. Are you doing everything you can to be an entrepreneur? That's a very, I mean, only you can answer that, obviously, at home or wherever you're listening or watching this. But there are times when I'm realizing it's not even a judgment. It's just kind of like, are you doing everything you can? I mean, maybe you're not. Maybe just because maybe you run out of time or you're tired or don't know. And that's all legitimate. But just like, but if you're not doing everything you can, that means there's a chance.
Right.
That means there's still a chance. So I would do it. For me, now going to the other thing you're talking about, which I like, social media, all that's great and dandy, getting virtual assistants on it, you still have to create content.
Right.
That's the bottom line. So you still have to create. So it's like you still have to, you can't have dinner without the meat and potatoes. Okay, vegetarians, vegans, yes. But you know what I mean? You have to have a major dish,
right,
to call it food. I mean, you can't do spaghetti without pasta. You can't do hamburger without burger. It's like you still have to put something in there. And that to me is a challenge, because I'm an ideas man. I got 10,000 ideas. But to do them and to execute them and to come up with them and to that's the work. Because like you, I don't have virtual assistant. I do everything myself. And that's a challenge too. But I still have to come up with all the stuff. What am I promoting? Like last night, for example, I was in bed and I was having a drink or two. I was having a Crown Royal apple. It was good.
Yeah,
on the rocks. It was really good, actually. It was really good. On the rocks. And I said, I'm going to promote all my Christmas songs. And so I went through and promote all my Christmas on all social media. I said I'll start on Instagram, then I'll go on Facebook, then I'll go on Twitter, and I started promoting all my Christmas songs. And so it was like I did that. And then after that, I said, okay, well, I'm still want to do some more stuff. I said, okay, now I'm going to promote my classes this week or this month. I have 3 classes this month. I said, okay, I'm going to go promote them. So I promoted the 3 classes on East. I just started doing that. So it's kind of like, okay. And then now this week, I was just telling Cesar, I'm going to promote my Patreon. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/James Jr., patreon.com/Cesar Espino. Follow us. I said, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to really plan my Patreon blitz of like, hello, this is what we do. This is what I'm doing. I have all this bonus content. And for me, I release stuff every day. Just about. I have all this weird extra stuff all laying around. So, but I'm like, I had to sit down and go, okay, this is what I'm promoting. It's a lot of work, but then I started just kind of doing it. And there are moments when I don't feel like doing that shit at all. I said, oh, I don't feel like promoting shit. I'm tired. I don't feel like going on social media. I don't feel like doing that. It's one of those weird, but at least I know I have some of the meat that I know I have. And you have a lot of stuff, books, your songs. I mean, it's a lot.
Oh yeah, no, and it is, and I think part of that, and you did touch on that, and for those people that want to get content out, you're right. There's essentially two elements to that, right? And that's why it's a lot of work because right, the first one is whether you have a virtual assistant or not, you do have to come up with that content. You got to do it. You got to come up with that content in many different ways, and so uh, one creating that content, coming up with that information is a major aspect of that. The second thing, again, is now putting that, into the different platforms, and that's where once you have created the content, if you want to get a VA, then you can definitely go ahead and do that, right? Except again, the first thing is creating that content, and so I do believe that there's a lot of it that goes into that from many different aspects, and so part of it though, you talked about you started marketing your Christmas and things like that. So us as entrepreneurs, we constantly got to be marketing ourselves in many different
Yes,
ways, right? And so,
yes.
you build your brand around your name. Exactly.
All my
You
stuff.
build your brand around your name. I've been building my brand around, also, here we go.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
deja vu. It seems like we have the same books.
Yeah, I
That's
think we have to go to the same books, guys. Look at the same books. I think you should. You said
yeah.
yes.
Go buy them, by the way.
Get up,
Go,
get up. Give us some
get them.
money. Give us some money.
I even bring, building my brand around, you can overcome anything, and also my name, Cesar R. Espino, right? Just to kind of create that. So again, it's a lot of work in many different aspects, right? So
Yeah, and so and folks, just want to give us a little side note. This Saturday, I am doing my Promote the JLJ Way class. 12 noon Pacific Standard Time is $20. Come on in. I'm going to share some of my secrets. It's going to be a good class.
nice.
It's a Zoom event. So I've
Yep.
done 10 events so far, all been very successful. I did a class on YouTube's last Saturday, and it was great. So come on over and check it out, and we'll have a good time. So you can go to any of my channels and see how to sign up. But that's what it is. Yes, it's creating a kind of. Now I want to ask you a question because you just joined Twitter after
I
all this
did.
time. So what made you decide to join Twitter after all this
So
time?
yeah, and I was debating on doing that, and as you know, I'm part of a couple of different masterminds, and I'm around or surrounded with a lot of people that are playing it bigger in different aspects. And so, someone that I met through this mastermind, friend of mine, he's been, I would say, in the last 6 months, maybe, yeah, 6 months to 8 months, he's really gone from like having, a very good fundamental life to like a very extraordinary life, right? And anyways, he was posting some stuff. He just joined too, and and then he posted something, and I said, I don't know if I want to join. I already have too many platforms. Like you need to join. And so I did that because of that, because when we talked about being an entrepreneur, there's different elements that are going to help you become successful in that. I do believe one of them is your network,
Yep.
right? And the people you surround yourself with. And so, it might seem like I'm following the crowd. Perhaps I am, except to hear somebody that is making it that gave me that advice of, hey, go ahead and join this. It'll be something good for you. So that's the reason why I joined. And so again, like anything that we do, like people that want to step into, whether you're doing your 9 to 5 and you want to step into becoming an entrepreneur, which we talk about in our books, by the way, is your network. Listening to podcasts, reading, all these different things that you think don't matter do matter in many different ways, and that's what kind of keeps you going. So anyways, that was the reason why I ended up joining Twitter, to see what comes out of that. So
Well, it's
yeah.
funny because I've been on Twitter since the very beginning, and it has been. I mean, much of my success, online success, has come from Twitter.
Mm.
The former network I was on, AfterBuzz TV, I had been on Twitter before that, but I wasn't doing much on there. But it was they pushed Twitter. Their big thing
Mm.
was Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Facebook, Twitter and Facebook, and I grew a huge. Before right now, I have like 2,500 followers, but before I had 10,000, and I had 10,000, and then ugh, I got hacked, and yeah, I lost all of them. So I had to start over and get a new account. So I started over a couple of years ago, and so I'm building back up. But I had 10,000 followers on there over
Wow.
a 9 year period. So I'm like, I was really working hard. So I really got a lot of people know me from Twitter. And when I made the announcement on, and so for me, I've basically left Twitter as a commentator, as a commenter, and people were like, "We're gonna miss you." Oh my god, because I was always on there. I was a very big presence on there. And I was just like, but I do post on there because I do see a significance of actually still posting. Like I post on LinkedIn. I post everywhere. I'm a big person who believes in blanketing everything. So,
Yeah.
but it's just
Well,
funny.
I'm growing. I mean, in just I think
Oh,
I
he
joined
has.
48 hours ago. I have 8 followers.
Hey, we got Flobo's on there. You got to find Flobo. He's on there.
I gotta find him. Yeah.
He's on there. I don't think who else do you know we know. There's some folks are on there. They may know. They may. You can look at my list. You may see some people that you may know.
I need to do that. Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, all I did is sign up. Other than that, I don't know the platform. I don't know how that works. To be honest with you, I know it's more like from my understanding, it's more like a news-based type of platform, I guess. And so a little bit different and so that's the other thing too. Like with social media, everything's different, right? And LinkedIn has its own purpose, Instagram his own purpose, Facebook has its own purpose. Everything has a different purpose, right? So it's not like you can just kind of like you know utilize the same content, which you could, except you have to switch a little bit. You have to be tailored to that audience or that platform. And so yeah, I need to figure this one out. So it's gonna be an interesting ride for sure.
Yes, I go to Twitter though for my news because usually everything happens on Twitter. So I always go there and go, okay, what's going on Twitter? For example, this past Saturday, a concert I was going to got canceled last minute. My niece drove down with her friend from San Francisco, 8 hours. We go to the hotel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, weren't you going to that concert?
Yeah, Harry Styles.
Yeah.
I meet him at the hotel. We're all dressed, ready to walk over, and ding on the phone, Harry Styles canceled the whole weekend.
Why?
Got sick, he said. Got sick. And postponed till January. So they came all the way down, and there's no concert. So we ended up drinking all night and eating. So, but that's no story. That's another story. We made the most of it. Uncle James got drunk and most of it. Had a hangover yesterday. I was like, "What's that? A hangover?" That was a long time. I said when she first got the notification, it wasn't from Kia Forum. It was from a friend. And I said, "Let me go over the news." I said, "We go on Twitter." And I went, and Kia Forum had the official announcement. It was canceled and rescheduled. So I was like, so Twitter is good for that. Somebody I knew just passed away. His name was Aaron Carter. So you guys, he was a child star related to the guy from Backstreet Boys. I knew him, and he passed. He died at 34. I posted. So I went on Twitter. Is this true? And TMZ, which I always say, TMZ, they get it. They know who they are. They get the story. So I trust them that that's for real. When they say it's real, I know it's real. But then on TMZ popped up on Twitter and said he's dead. So rest in peace, Aaron Carter. But Twitter is good for that for me. If there's an earthquake, I go on Twitter. I go on Facebook too sometimes. I'll go on Twitter. Was there an earthquake? Was that just me crazy? Somebody go, well, it was an earthquake. Okay, it was an earthquake. So I do that for that.
Yeah. So definitely. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a good news platform, right?
Yes.
I guess.
Yes. But the thing is, it's just, folks, what we're trying to say is that we know that it's a lot of work, and that's just what entrepreneurship is. It's a lot of work. It's not, you can't just rest. You're only as good as your last thing you did. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. And if you have products, you got to find ways to get out there. And social media is one way. There's other ways to, you try to buy ads and things in magazines, digital magazines, like that's a whole other story. But for the freebie stuff, it's social media. And it's a lot of work. I'm thinking just like, God, sometimes it was like, oh my God, I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
I just want to do the work and just get it out. Why can't I just be famous and just have it already out there?
Yeah, exactly. Except, two things to that you just said, being an entrepreneur is a lot of work. And I heard this, and it's very true. You, regardless of whether you're working 40 hours or 50 or 60 hours a week, right? It's like you left your 9 to 5 of working, let's just say 40 hours on an average, to be working now 80 hours a week, because that's really is. I saw you yesterday, or this morning, I guess. I was working late last night. I didn't go to sleep until 12:30 because I'm working on a new book. And I see James Lott Jr. posting stuff all over social media at 12:30. Because again, it could be as late as midnight to as early as 5, 6 in the morning. We're constantly working, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're leaving your 8 to 5 per se,
right?
You're working 24/7, and so you got to be ready for that. Except that is being an entrepreneur. That's the first thing. The second thing is just like James and I, we have multiple different things because when I first became an entrepreneur, the only thing that I was doing was real estate investing, which I still do. Um, and that was the only thing I was doing. Except from there, I discovered that there was other things that I can come up and do, which is good. And so I believe that if you're doing about 3 to 5 things, the human mind can actually balance that, and you can definitely do that. And so I guess what I'm saying is, if you look at every successful person, they're not just doing one thing. If you look at Elon Musk, he has Tesla, SpaceX, he has, now Twitter, has all these different things. It's different jobs, right? So anyways, do multiple things. The second thing to that is that you just never know. You're just one idea away from something big, right? You just one video away, like James Lott Jr. talking about his freaking I don't know what it was, bread on the refrigerator.
Yes, I know. Just I know. Yes.
And then you're just one video away from becoming viral, kind of thing, right? So,
yes.
So you just gotta keep grinding, I guess. On that
yes,
sense.
it's that video. I saw that video this weekend. My niece was like, "I saw you in the video, Uncle Jay." I'm like, "Yes, I know." So, folks, what he's referring to, which is actually a really good lesson too, is that you keep going. The late Ed Asner, 9-time Emmy winner, we became friends. Interviewed him many times over the years. He had said to me, he goes, "James, as long as you stay on the road, you'll reach destinations. It's when you pull over and stop, whether you don't go nowhere, you stopped." And I like, it's a simple analogy, but I like it because it's just like, just keep. I want longevity. I've been in this business 15 years. I'm 100 years old. You can't tell anyone I shaved my face, but I'm 100, 150. I'm 150. But I mean, I'm just like, I'm staying on the road. I'm just staying here because you just keep going. People see you, and so they get used to seeing you. They may not know what you're doing all the time, but they're used to seeing you. I used to see Cesar on Facebook all the time. I don't know what he was doing, but he was on Facebook all the time. But that's keeps you in your brain, and then when something big could be possible to come to you, it will come to you because you're on the road. And for me, I've gone viral several times, fortunately or unfortunately, and it got me exposure. I've been on Jimmy Kimmel Live, which was a big deal for me. I made history on that show, and that was a big deal that changed my life also. I mean, I've had markers, things that have happened that because I stayed on the road, just kept continuing. So any entrepreneur life, that can happen too. It's like you just keep going. You may have that huge sale, that huge flip. You just said this one, so for some reason, this one really brings you in a lot of money. Or it could be that one client that just really get a really big turn in your investment with this client. Like this client, you're making the most money you've ever made with this client. Like I had organizing clients where they were famous. That's some famous people I've worked for who were paying my upper tier pricing. I never thought I could get it. I was like, well, I'll try it and see what happens. And they were like, yeah, they're sure we'll pay it. I'm like, oh, they're gonna pay it? Okay, they're gonna pay. Okay, great. Okay. And then I saw so at that time I was making money I had never made before. It was great. So it can happen. You just keep kind of all the stuff.
Yeah, you're stacking for sure.
You're stacking, yeah. And I know my classes, which Cesar came to one, they're very successful. I just started them 2 months ago, and people were like, "James, what are you doing? This is where I'm like." Trust me, I'm shocked too. But it's like you build it, they will come. That kind of thing. I'm building, and so fortunately, some are coming to me. And that's what it is. My audio drama, same thing. I have some shows that are just like flying at the box all of a sudden. I've been doing it for 2.5 years, but like it doesn't matter. It's like as long as they come to you and see your stuff, and start buying into it, that's where the success comes. And sometimes it's a slow burn. Sometimes it takes a while. I mean, but all your books were bestsellers. So right. He's a bestseller in several countries on several things. You've done how many of these you can overcome in books?
That one I'm working on my volume 8, which will come out hopefully in a week or 2. Yeah.
Oh wow, week 2. All right. So I mean that's 8. I mean, we have 7 books that are all bestsellers on the Amazon bestseller list on different countries, different platforms on there. Yeah. That's because he kept trying and just keeps putting it out there. And it's like you can do anything.
Yeah, you can. And with that, we're gonna take a more commercial on this now. With that too, like for people that because of that, then I found out a different passion too, and I found out that I'm doing it for myself. I said there's a lot of people that have come to me asking me, "Hey, can you help me?" And so because of that, now I've created a program where I can help people publish their own book
See,
and also become a bestseller, and get that message out, whatever that might be, whether it's um, uh, your memoir or whatever message it is, fiction or nonfiction, doesn't matter. We can get that book out to you, and I work with creating every element. So like right now, I'm working with a guy in Mexico who actually was in some of his books, not in this volume, a different volume. And then he said, now I want to do my own book. Help me out with that. So he became my client now, and he's out of Mexico. So we're working on getting his book published middle of December, right? And so again, helping people do the same thing from that perspective. Yeah.
yeah, I say it's a lot of work, kids. But it can also build other work, and other work come out other work. And so for me, same thing. I've been doing this for a long time now. So now I'm teaching classes on organizing, I'm teaching classes on life coaching, I'm teaching classes on how to be on YouTube, how to create your own audio dramas. Like I'm teaching what I know. So like I said, you start out one way, then you do it long enough, become an expert, you can actually turn it around and bring it back out. And also, you're helping people. Also, you're like,
Right.
I'm a big community person. Back to the community, and that's a great thing too. And so I think that's a great example of just like just again staying on the road. You just stayed on the road long enough, and then now you're an expert in certain things. You go, I can talk about this. I can actually share with people. And also another thing I'm trying to remember too, and Cesar and I have talked this off camera before. Also, there are so many audiences that are not talked to. So no matter what you're doing, there could be a segment of the audience out there that just they haven't heard from you yet, and I could need you. For me, when I first started doing organizing almost 14 years ago, I can't believe that. Oh my God, 14 years ago.
Wow.
Black folks and Latino folks did not know you could have an organizer. They didn't even know what an organizer was. White folks did, but people of color, because knowing most cultures, and Cesar can attest to this also, you clean your own house, you do everything yourself, you build things, you just do it yourself. You don't really hire anybody to do it. I got to teach them because I work with mostly older women of color, where they can't do it themselves. That was my audience. They were sitting there, they're just sitting there, they had no idea, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love him. Oh my God." So I built a whole business around helping people of color in my neighborhood first. Then I branched out. I'm saying they were sitting there, they had no idea. On the soap shows 7 years ago, we taught old ladies who watch soap operas across the country to come on YouTube. They were like, "What's YouTube?" They had no idea. We taught them how to come on YouTube and how to set an account, how to sign in and watch us, because there was an audience and now that's most of my analytics are 50 years old and older. That's what it is.
Wow.
But that's all. They were just sitting there. They were just sitting there. And so now I feel like again, these classes I'm doing, these audiences are just sitting there, wanting to learn stuff. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to talk to. And that's what it is. And so that's what Cesar's trying to do with his stuff. And so I'm trying to do with my stuff. Finding, we told you, like, there's a whole bilingual audience. We have a whole Spanish audience. My Spanish songs that I do are huge. They always sell out. They love them for some reason. They love them. And that's something that there's an audience out there. And I'm part of the whole Dutch society of stuff. I speak Dutch. And so I was like, but there's audiences that are just sitting there. They don't even know they need you. They're just sitting there like, it's not just. So we were talking about you doing the same thing with you guys, infiltrating the Spanish market and bringing more of what you do now to them.
Mm-hmm.
You do one of your books in Spanish.
Yes.
In Spanish. How's that been?
Yeah, it actually, as a matter of fact, people are asking me like, when are you gonna do more books in Spanish, right? So I'm actually working on getting, the majority of my books translated into Spanish, because again, yeah, that's that's the advantage that I guess I have, that I'm not really doing much, and is really being able to tap into being able to tap into that other market, right? Because it's essentially a different market, and so I'm not doing much of that, so I need to do that. And so one of the things that I started doing, as you've may seen, I'm trying to deliver. We'll talk about social media, deliver a message, on TikTok, Instagram, every so often on Facebook, mostly in TikTok and Instagram. I now do bilingual messages, or I do stuff in Spanish and I do stuff in English, both of those, right? And so I do that, and then I'm also trying to do like business and self-development events in Spanish too. Like that's something that I'm working on too. So yeah, I mean, definitely it's again looking at what other platform can you utilize to help you get to where you want to get to, right, and deliver that message. I've done very few. I think I have about 240. I forget now, 240 plus episodes on my podcast. Of those 240, I probably have about 15 of those interviews are successful people in Spanish. So also bringing that into content.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a little side note. So Cesar is on another show that I do called Coffee and Conversation with James and Melissa. It's out today. We just got a comment. V. Carter said, "Delightful conversation." Thank you, V. Carter.
Nice.
If you watch this show, we saw your comment from the other show. So he's on that one. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I want to touch that. Okay. Yeah. So for example, for me, I had a blog years ago. It's a very successful blog. I had it for like 7 years and had over 100,000 readers. I decided to. I got tired of blogging, so I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. But towards the end, I started blogging in Spanish. I started doing blogs in Dutch. And what's funny is the American speakers, a lot of them were like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, whatever. I don't care about you." But I got a lot of attention from the Dutch speakers, and actually, I got interviewed by Dutch organizers, organizers from Finland. Like you said, you don't know what's going to happen. They saw it, they loved it, and I started getting across the world attention because blogs they all go out to the world. Whatever you put out in the universe goes out to the world. And so I can get attention from that world. Like, you're one of us. I'm like, yes, I'm part Dutch. I'm one of you guys. I'm like, I did this whole thing. So he's right. You never know where it can lead you to. You just never, ever, ever, ever know where it can lead you to. So
right, yeah, exactly.
It's an audience just sitting there, I want to translate some books in Spanish. I also have, I have a Spanish, I have an all Latino cast I have a show that I do called Is and Izzy. And so we do bilingual stuff in it, but I do want to eventually do an all Spanish audio drama. And it's what I'm on the works. So like I have things. Like I want to do one in Dutch too. I have one in Dutch. I mean, so I have all kinds of stuff that I want to do. Also because they're just sitting there. The markets are sitting there. They're just and Latinos are like a large part of the world. I mean, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting. I was actually looking at some statistics. I'm always very intrigued and just finding things out, right? So I was looking at what are the worldwide spoken languages, in the world, right? Worldwide, and obviously, English is number one. Except in the top five, you have English, Spanish, Mandarin, French, and I forget what was the other one, right? So I mean, definitely, again, when you look at that audience or being able to do that, I mean, it's huge. It's huge from that perspective, right? There's a pretty big audience on that, and you go anywhere in even in Europe, you can speak Spanish, right? So again, when we look at some of my books, I had sales in Europe, Australia, or also in Australia and Asia, in Europe, Spain, France, so it's, again, you just never know, right?
You never know. And luckily nowadays, even social media stuff, it's worldwide. And so I have people that have podcasts on my network, and they're like, "I'm big in India, or I'm big in England, or I'm big in Sweden. I'm number 2 in Poland." I'm like, you never know where things go. It just goes out there, and you never know what picks up where. You have no idea.
Right.
And so, but the point is to be open, and also if you're like right now, I'm big in Nigeria apparently. So, and I found I'm part Nigerian in my DNA stuff. So I'm working with them to do something. It's like right now I'm trying to build on it. I have a project that I'm working on with the BBC, and I'm working on kind of. So I'm like just trying to work on it. Maybe we can build something there. I mean, Nigeria's a big country. It got lots of attention. It's so you just never know. Again, stay on the road. I mean, that's like I just say that's
Right.
you stay on the road and keep driving. And you're going to have to hit something at some point. I'm going to hit something, but not hit anything. But it's going. Then
Right.
it will happen, I guess. But it's
yeah.
That's
right.
Not easy. So there may be a 4th book out from us. I just started writing something. We'll see how it goes. I'll see what he's doing. He's writing his next book, his 8th book. So he's writing that together. So we are out there doing it. We are working on an album in Spanish.
Yes.
The covers.
Yes.
Finally. Off camera.
Yes.
We're trying to get that together. And he said some audio. We just finished the audio drama for Amor season 2. So that'll be coming out soon. So we got all kinds of stuff going on. He's doing all kinds of stuff. So I want you to promote yourself. You promote yourself now. Where they can find all of your Caesar goodness.
Yeah, so I guess the best place will be two places. CesarRespino.com. That's for my website, or you can actually go to linktree.com/EspinoC, and you can find everything there. You can also find me there, similar to like James Lott Jr. You can just Google my name, Cesar R. Make sure you put R, Cesar
Yeah.
R. Espino, and then you can find everything that I have. Or you can go to pretty much every platform under Cesar R. Espino.
Yeah, there's Caesar R because there's another Caesar.
Yeah, there's another Cesar Espino that actually is like an hour away from here in SoCal, and so yeah, that's not me, guys.
You guys ever met her and talked or anything? No.
No. He's actually he's also in real estate.
I know. Yeah.
He's an agent. I'm not an agent.
Right.
I'm sure he's investing though. We've seen his profile, so he's also in real estate. He's not in San Diego. I'm down here in LA, and never met him. But I was, and how I came about it is because I was trying to. At that time, I was trying to get my domain name, and so I was putting Cesar Espino. That was taken, so I went in, and I'm like, "Who's Cesar Espino?" And yes, sure enough, somebody in San Diego. So I'm like, "All right, well, let me do Cesar R, my middle initial, Espino," and that wasn't taken. And so even now that I got Twitter, my handle is Cesar R Espino, like everything Cesar R Espino.
No, I was told that a lot. I used to have different handles. I was told just James Lott Jr. Just make sure.
Yeah, because again, especially when you're building that brand, like again, I go back to. I'm building my brand being my name. I want people to know me, and then from me, they can, divert to everything that I have going on. And so I'm building my brand, and I've been working on that for quite some time now. So, except for Facebook, because I had that from a long, long time ago, my handle is not Cesar R. Espino. But you can find me through that. But when you look at, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, and even LinkedIn is Cesar R. Espino.
Yeah, you do that. Well, you know me. Follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms. I'm sold out, but you can still follow me there. As Tony always says, I'm sold out. A lotsofhelp.com. It's lot with two T's, not one. To get any kind of stuff going on there. But yeah, James Lott Jr. everywhere. But literally, just Google me and you'll see all my stuff. I'm everywhere, of course. But thanks for listening to our conversation or watching us. More to come from us. We're not done. We ain't done at all. We're not done. Yes. More to come, and we'll see you guys next time. If you're an entrepreneur, we are behind you. We see you. We know how hard it can be, and we're rooting for you.
Pick up our books if you're an entrepreneur, because this is good.
Yes, our books. Good. Amazon. Go to Amazon. Get them. All of our books.